All right, everyone, welcome back here to the Porsche Super Cup here for round five of the eight of the calendar at the moment here. We're here for one of our first non-European rounds here at Mexico in the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here, and with the title coming up very fast here, it will sure to be a spectacle unlike any other here, and with the qualify session here being one of the most important of the series. I am Jamie here, and joining me and returning back into the commentary booth once again, it is Miran. Good afternoon, Miran.
Hello, Jamie. Thank you for doing the intro for me. Very, very kind of you. But yes, we are here for round number 5 of the Porsche Super Cup Championship at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit in Mexico City. I think this is actually the first time someone's done the intro for me when I'm actually commentating. At least it's been the first time in a really, really long while since anyone has done that. But I do appreciate it. We got 20 minutes of qualifying just ahead of us. Jokuba Zukauskas in the Dynamic Motorsport is the first man out. He's trailing Axel Socki, the race winner last time out, just behind him. But as they're just about to start their lap, let's go through the track. So, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, named after the racing drivers Ricardo and Pedro Rodriguez, who would become Mexico's first Formula One drivers and would unfortunately later pass away in separate racing accidents, as the track was named in their honor. It was first opened in 1959, marking this the 63rd year anniversary of the track, and it was named the Autodromo Magdalena Mijuca, named after the public park in which it was built in. However, it was later named after the racing drivers. It hosted its first Formula One Grand Prix all the way back in 1962 as a non-championship race. However, the following year in '63, it became a full World Championship event, and it remained all the way on the F1 calendar up until the '70s, when spectator overcrowding would unfortunately cause unsafe conditions, and that resulted in the track being dropped from the calendar altogether. It saw another renovation in the 1980s, along with another return of Formula One. However, it was eventually dropped due to safety concerns once again, and the track saw a few different racing series come there over the years. Stuff like kart and even NASCAR has come here, but the track was renovated in 2001, and in 2012 it was announced that the track will be returning to Formula One in 2015, and the rest is history. The track has played host to the Mexican Grand Prix, as we have mentioned, but it's also played host to the Mexico City E-Prix of Formula E, the NASCAR Mexico Series, for those who know what that is, and then things like the 6 Hours of Mexico, the kart, Avon Grand Prix, World Sports Car Championship, and even the Race of Champions back in 2019. Either way, this track has been host to many different series over the years, and this layout, which has been in place since 2015, it is the Grand Prix circuit, which is 4.3 kilometers long and boasts a total of 17 turns. So, Jamie, what do you make of the track?
Well, it's pretty interesting to see that this venue in particular has stood against the test of time. One which has a very significant history, which in fact the president of Mexico actually had a hand in it in developing this track here, and the fact that it still remains here nearly half a decade later proves it's Mexico's enthusiastic with its motorsport here. But this track is definitely very unique, as you have mentioned earlier on. It's very, very high elevations, probably one of the highest racetracks in given altitude. Actually, I think it might be the highest one in our calendar here in the Porsche Super Cup, and indeed with the other ACOC races that we're going to have here, especially in Formula 2 and Formula 1. So with that taken all in mind, that will pay a very big price in regards to how the downforce and the slipstream will actually work here, because once the air is thinner, all of that is kind of a bit is a bit reduced as such as well. And on top of that, you've got a bit of the engines working a bit overload on top of that in order to get that maximum speed as much as they can here. But no, this track is actually pretty good. The first section, you can expect a lot of high-speed corners, and then followed by, which is a very complex first corner, which you can see a very lot amount of overtakes coming here. And then the second and third sector is probably medium to high-speed corners, and then following by that infamous stadium section here, which is probably one of the best corners, I'll probably say, in South America, given its unique atmosphere. And then the final corner is definitely one that the drivers definitely need to get right if they want to make any moves heading into the first turn. So all in all, it's going to be a very interesting race for sure. As so far as we head into less than 14 minutes left to go, and Xiaoqi now has set the provisional lap time of 1 minute 49.430, and he beats Yuto Horigama's time by about 13 thousandths of a second.
Yes, indeed. It is a really, really interesting track, especially considering the altitude that we are racing at. Cars might run below optimal power output here at Mexico City, but it's going to be very, very interesting. And this track is quite a staple in the ACOC calendar. It's been featured every single year. And it's been on the F1 calendar since 2018, but we've always come here to this track in a lot of different racing series. Formula E, IndyCar, Porsche Super Cup, and F1 have all come here over the years. And one moment that is still fresh in the minds of many of us ACOC enthusiasts was the Porsche Super Cup race here last season, where on the final lap of the race you had that incredible duel between Rahul Patel and Giuseppe Stella for the race win, which went all the way down to the line, and it will be Rahul Patel who would just clinch it to take his first win. But an absolutely incredible moment, and if that race last season is anything to judge by, I think we're going to be in for an absolute thriller today here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With the title fight racking up here between three drivers now of Gabriel Gomez, Henry J. Brown, and Huang Ming Nguyen. After that result coming over from Portugal as well, you can expect all those drivers to give it all their all, as the momentum will still carry on heading in outside of the European rounds now. And this one here in Mexico is definitely going to be the ones that's going to set the boundary and set the line straight for that now. So any of these drivers that have a very good result will definitely push that momentum and boundaries ahead forward for the remaining three races. And you can see the tides changing here. So you can expect them all to be very fierce here in this given track here, which we can expect to see. And yeah, so given from the last race situation, I think we can expect to see even more exciting racing here, and maybe something similar to Patel's and Stella's duel here, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully we will, as James Morris Pearson crosses the line to go up into 13th, a man who made his debut in Porsche Super Cup last season, now appears in the one-make Porsche Cup Series once again. This time driving for Lechner Racing Middle East. He replaces Michael Valyak at the team, and this is his second race as Khalfan Juma goes across the line, and the Emirati goes up into provisional pole by 200ths of a second ahead of Fengchen China. Speaking of Lechner Racing Middle East, Juma has done quite a good job there.
Yeah, I must say it's been pretty good for Jamal. He's coming off from a recently very good position in P5 actually, and he was a provisional pole actually last time around. So it's kind of becoming a recurring theme at the moment. But yeah, it's pretty good for the Emirati here, as we can see Alexander Arnold, who is on his second Porsche Super Cup appearance. This one, he's going to go ahead and set another fast lap here. He did have problems with qualifying last time around, which is quite uncharacteristic for the German, given his very good qualifying performances throughout the F1 term for his replacement for Emmy Nielsen. But maybe things could change a bit for the better as we head into the outside of the European rounds, possibly.
Yeah, hopefully this might be a turn of fortunes for the German former F1 driver and race winner. I mean, Formula One, albeit he hasn't been there, as James Morris Pearson goes up into fourth. I'd say it really is his home, and he really is suited to driving those cars. He's been in Super Formula and he's been in Porsche Super Cup, but he really hasn't performed spectacularly there. We don't know what that comes down to, obviously, but it isn't really like him to see him all the way down there. So hopefully he'll eventually be able to kick it up back into form.
Absolutely, as well. He does have a bit of the F1 experience, but as we've seen in recurring form, he always seems to perform best in F1 machinery as opposed to other kinds of conventional series. But we shall see if things might turn a bit for the better for Double A as he enters into the final few corners, which is going to be very interesting to see if he does improve. Nick Tyner is still he improves a bit to go into sixth. Championship, the person who was the former championship leader in Gabriel Gomez, he's got quite a lot of work to do. He's got himself up into 10th, now down to 11th as Matis Material. He improves once again. He's doing really well on his on here in the Porsche Super Cup at the moment. But Alex Arnaud still stays in 13th, and Zukauskas meanwhile improves and gets himself up to 4th for Dynamic Autosport.
Yeah, nice stuff from Zukauskas. He's actually tied with Yuta Horigome for 3rd, but Horigome will get it, considering he set an incrementally faster lap time there in 3rd. As Zukauskas is gonna go to the inside line of, I do think that is Yuto Horigome. So the two will battle coming out turn number 3, and Zukauskas is gonna get it, considering he is on the flyer there, and Horigome is only on his outlap. But still, very well done from the two. Horigome, who has gone pointless in the first 3 races of his Porsche Super Cup career, as across the line goes Aaron Curtis to storm onto provisional pole with a 1:49.348. That is a brilliant lap from the Dynamic Motorsport driver, and one to be very proud of as well.
Yeah, really good there for Aaron as well. He's done pretty good there, and he's managed to get himself into .3, which is really, really impressive given the stage of this track as well. It's going to be something Curtis will be very proud of at the moment, and he's got a bit of breather room ahead of the next couple of cars here. But still, the session's only still early. We've only got about 7 minutes left to go, and there's still chance for improvements from elsewhere from all the other drivers.
Indeed, as we always know, Porsche Super Cup is so close when it comes to qualifying. So it is a matter of just nailing that time and then just hoping it'll stay for most of these guys, as Erki Nytna goes up into P6 for Team GP Elite, the 3-man team that currently are P5 in the championship standings, but they will be battling for P3 as well with Fuck Autotech and Lechner Racing, considering all those teams are only separated on 1 point against each other. So we've been talking about the Drivers' Championship a lot, but I think we can focus on the Constructors as well.
Yeah, well, it's pretty clear that from the benefit that MRS GT Racing has from filing 3 cars and all of them very capable drivers, they'll probably walk away with the Constructors' Championship. But in regards to the 2 car teams, such as Lechner Racing, Lechner Racing Middle East, and Lechner Racing itself, both of them, they might be in contest for best of the rest currently at the moment, as signed from MRS. But you can see Dynamic and Martinet, they're having a bit of improvement form ever since like their abysmal round 1 at the moment, and it's been steady climbing for them at the moment. And if it goes the right way heading into Mexico, maybe. And Team GP Elite has been a bit of a struggle recently from Portugal. Maybe we could see them battle it out for 5th.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how the Constructors will shape out this season. Obviously, Dynamic Motorsport, who were the team's champions last year, are now in P6 after an almost brand new lineup. Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, go ahead.
No, continue. I was gonna finish.
No, it's fine. We've no, it's just find it's pretty interesting though. As we've just got about 5 minutes left to go at the moment here. But yeah, I completely agree with you on that statement though. But it's a good change of fortunes though for Yuta Horigome though. funny thing is that Horigome and Chukashkas have currently set the same time at the moment as Yuta Horigome will go ahead and cross the line without an improvement though. So he's still in the same time with Chukashkas. It's kind of a similar thing that we've happened in Portugal where I believe it was Eric Knit and another driver, I'm not quite sure of his name, but both of them set identically the same lap times though within the top 10 during the period of the qualifying session. So it's becoming a recurring thing currently in the Porsche Super Cup qualifying sessions.
Yeah, it really goes to show that, I mean, I guess it is a testament to how incredibly close Porsche Super Cup really can be. As one man we haven't mentioned, Mateusz Material, who we're not going to talk about right now, as Aaron Curtis has just set a 1/10 improvement over the field. The Irishman is absolutely on fire right now, and this could be the start of a very good run of form for the Irishman.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely gives the form of the form of confidence that they need. As James Morris Pearson, though, he goes a really good improvement though for 149.962, and Chauchinat will soon follow him, but 2/10 slower though. But James Morris Pearson is making Aaron Curtis's pole time look little less invincible.
Yeah, I have to say, really, really well done from James Morris Pearson. He's been climbing up the order so far in this qualifying, and if he gets one more improvement, then who knows, that could be the definite pole time from the American. Chauchinat gets himself up at the third as well. I was gonna mention Mateusz Material in second, as he's now down to fourth, but Material once again doing good in qualifying, only a second race. As we know, Mateusz has been quite a strong starter in when it comes to his racing campaigns, as Khalfan Juma gets himself back up into the top 3 with a 149.298. That will be P3 at the moment for the Lechner Racing Middle East car.
Yep, as well, it's pretty good for Lechner Middle East Racing. They have done pretty good for qualifying actually. They have been actually very good, strong qualifying performances ever since they brought James Morris Pearson back in, and Jumar has suddenly found a new form now. So it's probably clear evidence that their two partnerships are actually quite working together, though. But meanwhile, in the back, though, Gabriel Gomez and Henry J. Brown, these two are like prime title contenders, and they're down 13th and 14th. And Gabriel Gomez has not actually improved a lot since Portugal.
Yeah, I mean, BWT Lechner have always been a solid championship contender. As Gomez goes across the line, it is only P13 for the Brazilian at the moment, but Gomez has always been a strong driver. As Pearson goes across the line, and look at this, my predictions were correct, as he storms on to provisional pole with a 149, 110, and dethrones Aaron Curtis for pole position, provisional pole position, with 2 minutes to go.
Yep, 300s faster than Aaron Curtis's time. It's really good there for James Morris Pearson, though. The question is, how long can he keep hold of it at the minute? He has done very good to climb, but we'll see if there's any others that can climb at the moment. But very good there for Chauchinat as well, who just places Jamar of third place at the minute, so it makes it Lechner Middle East Racing 1 and 4 at the moment. But yeah, very good for Chauchinat, though. It's he has improved actually quite a lot since the last couple of races of his performances, and it could be a change of form for the Thai driver.
Yeah, it would be great to see, obviously, especially considering he is going into his second season of Porsche Super Cup. We could finally see the true form of Chauchinat heading into these final rounds, as we're now looking at Alexander Arnold, who currently is in P11, just a smidge slower than Nick Tander, who's in the points. So we'll see if Alex will be able to get himself into the points-paying positions.
Yeah, we shall definitely see about that, but it's really uncharacteristic for Alex Wan and Stocky, both of them who were like really prime, strong performers in last race. And Gabriel Gomez, he's showing his true form now as he goes himself up into 6th. And this is exactly what he needs now to be ahead of Henry J. Brown and Huang Ming in order to try and challenge for the championship. And he does so in 6th. That's really strong there for the Brazilian.
Yeah, fantastically done from Gabriel Gomez, as that is going to give him a massive relief as up into
Gonzalez!
third. Yeah, that is
Whoa.
Rubinho Gonzalez. Great lap, as that's going to make it a Dynamic Motorsport 2-3 at the moment. All three cars of theirs in the points at the moment as the checker flag now falls. Erkin Nüt is not going to be the first man across the line as he comes into the pit lane. What about Huang Min Nguyen, as Min is just going to round the final corner? Let's see if the man who's P3 in the championship is going to be able to get himself up any positions. No, he can't do it, and he's going to be 14th.
That's really shocking, though. Pearson, Chouchin, and Jamar will all be in the pit, so their positions will currently the way it will stand. What about Alexander Arnold? Can he make any last gasp improvements? Maybe any potentially? I don't think he might. Henry J. Brown, he'll be into the pits as well. That's going to be pretty unfortunate for the current championship leader, all the way down to 15th. And as we see with Gabriel Gomez in the last race, it's going to be very hard to actually make up any ground whenever you're all the way down here, especially in Mexico. I think in the background that was Nick Tander, who's got hauled up by the Dynamic Motorsports driver. What about Jake Tisley? Can Jake Tisley do any improvements? It's been pretty quiet so far this season so far, especially from the last race. Is it going to be any more improvements for the British? I don't think it will, and neither it will for Nick Tander. Gabriel Gomez is currently 7th after the demotion from Rubinho Gonzalez. Is there going to be any improvements? It's a big improvement for Gabriel, and he gets himself up into 4th.
Yeah, and I think Gomez must be feeling the I think the pressure must really be gone for him at the moment, as his championship rival is 11 positions down at the moment. But let's see Rubinho Gonzalez then, as he's going to be the final man across the line, and it's pole for Rubinho Gonzalez. He's done it, and he is going to be on pole position out of absolutely nowhere here at Mexico City.
That was a really shocker. The last car on track, and he manages to set the pole position. That was absolutely amazing there from the Spaniard, and he will make it sure for a very exciting race here today. Oh my word, what an amazing performance there from Gonzalez, and leaves it to the last minute.
Yeah, what a way to secure your second pole position in PSC. But let's go through the starting grid then before lights out here at Mexico City, and it will be none other than Rubinho Gonzalez of Dynamic Motorsport taking pole position here at Mexico, and accompanying him on the front row it will be James Morris Pearson. Fantastic qualifying from the American, as Aaron Curtis will start P3 in what is a fantastic day for Dynamic Motorsport, and Gabriel Gomez will start a very, very good 4th as well. Functional Shynat will be P5 with Khalfan Juma in P6. That's Mateusz Material in 7th, and behind the pole it is Yuto Horigome in P8. Jakubas Zukauskas will be P9, and his fellow Baltic driver Erkin Nüt will be rounding out the top 10.
Aidan Smith of the two Irishmen will start in P11. Followed behind him is the legendary racing of Nick Tander. He starts in 12th. Alexander Arnold can't seem to perform just as well as he did at F1. He still starts in 13th. And 14th and 15th are two prime title contenders, Nguyen and Brown. They might be in a bit under pressure since Gomez is starting P4. Jake Tisley's in 16th, and following behind them in the back row is the two prime performers of the last race, Sokki and Luan, in 17th and 18th respectively. And that will conclude the grid for today's race in Mexico.
Yeah, so let's go down to the grid then, as we already have 6 lights here at Mexico City. And we are not underway for the race here in Mexico.
Jesus Christ!
We're gonna get a restart. You saw nothing. So then, as the 6 lights coming on, it's gonna be Gonzalez on pole position. And we're underway here at Mexico City. Not the best starts for Gonzalez. Pearson gets the jump on the Spaniard as they're going to be side by side heading into turn number 1. It's going to give James the inside that he needs, as the two are going to be wheel to wheel heading into the first corner. I think he's got it. Yes, he's got it before the corner, as Gomez is going to go on to Aaron Curtis there, heading into turn number 1. Gonzalez going to fight back against the American as the two go side by side. Pearson on the inside line as they head down out of turn number 3 and down into turn number 4. It's going to be Gonzalez on the inside line, as we're already having a battle for the race lead.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Pearson is going to have to use the outside line though and trying to get all the best advantage he can. Meanwhile, the back, you can think Gomez and Kurz are going to be side by side, and Jamal is currently the only one that's alone though. Pearson has got a bit of the space here as they head down for turn 5 and turn 6 in the double apex hairpin. He's got about enough speed. I think Pearson will hold into the lead momentarily, while Gonzalez I don't think will be over just yet.
Yeah, fantastically done, as we see Chao Shinat and Jorge Gomez as they're going to go side by side through the S's. It's always fantastic to see the cars fight through these corners as Chao Shinat tries to find his way past the young Japanese driver, but Jorge Gomez does defend his position. There in the background is Nytt and Material fighting with each other. Mateusz doesn't get the best of exits. Could Nick Tander try and strike on the pole? Yes, he does, as he's going to go to the inside line. Let's see if he's going to succeed with it, heading into the stadium section now, as he's going to be on the outside line of Mateusz Material. There in the background is Jakubas Zukauskas and Aiden Smith fighting each other, as Tander's there on the inside line. Is Material going to be able to defend the long way round through the final corner? They will go, and I think Tander might just get it on Material, but Mateusz will get the better exit heading into turn number 1, and the battle goes on to the next lap.
The people who set the identical same lap times are currently the ones in one of the most fierce battles right now. This is going to be the first of many battles that are going to last for well over a lap now. I think Tander and Material still not going to give each other an inch now. Zukashkas might look to join in and pick up the aftermath of this, as they're going to go side by side for turn 1, heading down to turn 3, and then it comes to the inside of turn 2 now, and they're still going to be going side by side heading into the second straight.
It's going to be really interesting to see as Tander's putting the squeeze on Material heading into the braking zone. Let's see if he's going to be able to get it done this time, as they've been side by side for a hell of a while. To turn 4 now through 5 and 6. It's going to give Material the inside line, and through turn 6 he should be able to cover off the Aussie, and I think he has, and the battle finally comes to an end as Mateusz Material will defend his position from Nick Tander. Great battling between the two, and as I always said before, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez does deliver.
Yeah, absolutely, as always, and well done there for Mateusz Material. Only problem though, he's 1 seconds behind the next car ahead, and with this being a really heavy track, especially in the front straight, it probably may not do him very well for the long run, unless it can catch up, or like the field always does, you can expect to see a lot of battles which will hopefully make the catch up a lot easier. But Pearson is already 1.1 seconds from Gonzalez, which is absolutely uncharacteristic for such a massive lead here in Mexico.
Yeah, Gonzalez has built, or sorry, Pearson has built up a very, very big gap, as he does have the fastest lap of the race. Gabriel Gomez has remained in third at the moment. It's Mateusz Material now sets the fastest lap of the race, so could that be an indication of anything for Material? We will have to wait and see, as Gabriel Gomez is still on the back of Gonzalez, so we'll see if there's going to be any battling there. Looking at Alex Luan then, who is chasing down Axel Socki. Not the greatest day for Socki, considering his performances last time out.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see in the background is there for Henry J. Brown as well. He started at P15 and he lost a couple of positions to be all the way down last. I'm not sure what is it recently with championship leaders being in the back of the field, but I'm sure Henry J. Brown will look to change that though, as he's all over the backs of Alex Luan now and trying to make the move, heading down into the second sector now, and he's going to try and use down the inside line now finally with a bit of the speed. Can he actually make it work for the double apex hairpin? We shall find out, and he's got a bit of the worst over there, but Yuto Ogawa and Calvin Jamal are going to be heading and dueling. It's going to be similar to their reminiscent of their battle in Bahrain, and we shall see if anything comes to blows between these two.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting here, as Jorge Gomez is on the outside line of Jamal, the two former Super Formula drivers, now battling it out in Porsche Super Cup, as Jorge Gomez doesn't get the best of exits, because they allow function of Chao Shinat to try and get a move in here on Jorge Gomez. Yuto does leave the space as the two go side by side, but I don't think the Martinet car can do it.
No, he doesn't. He's not quite close enough to Yuto Horigoma, though. He's trying to look down for the outside line, though, and it gets a bit twitchy, which might allow for Erky Nit, but that right behind him, to maybe catch up to him. Meanwhile, in the back, though, Alexander Arnold's also lost 2 positions as well. I'm not sure what quite it is with probably Jarvis not actually quite delivering too much, but I guess that's one of the best things about Mexico as well. qualifying is no guarantee of the place that you're going to finish in. It all depends on your racecraft here, and nothing has been more example of that than Mexico.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see then as we head into turn number 1, and then through the first couple of corners, Material chasing down Erki Nytt.
Yep, we shall see about that though. It's kind of all over the back there, especially for Nick Tander as well. Nick Tander Material start aren't done yet from their duel for the 9th position in lap 2. And Nick Tander's driver look down for the inside line now of Matheus Material now, and they're going to be going side by side now once again as they head down for the apex of their corner. And it's going to be the double apex hairpin though, which I think Nick Tander might try to look inside, and Material does not budge, and Andrew gets a bit of a wide exit, which might allow for Sukasha to get through. But last no positions changed made there between Material and Tander.
Yeah, none of them losing any position to each other, but yeah, we'll see if Material's gonna be able to do anything at the moment, as he is in this little train. The field's still quite closely packed together at the moment, except for Pearson, who seems to be in a bit of a world of his own today.
2.5 seconds. It's quite a bit shocking, especially this early into the race, but he could be playing the long game and just trying to build as much as a gap as he possibly can from Gonzalez, because he very well knows that if Gonzalez keeps up to him, then you can definitely see a bit of battling happening out between these two. But yeah, so Pearson is just trying to go as fast as he possibly can. So it's a matter of time. It's still early beginnings. We're only in lap 5 out of 21. So it's still just early beginnings whether if that strategy will work or not. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it is always a bit of a gamble as Zhukauskas heads through the first corner, chasing down Tander for points. Both of them right now in the mid-table of the championship, separated on 2 points. So it is quite a close gap between the two, and they will be vying to get ahead of each other to get up the order, obviously. As Henry J. Brown, who's down in last, so he actually fell down to last place as he had a look there and actually won, but didn't go very well for him. But yeah, Henry J. Brown, not really something I would expect considering his performances this season. It feels a bit odd to see the Portuguese man down in last at the moment.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a recurring theme with Portuguese-speaking championship leaders being all the way in last place. But well, what can you say? It's kind of one of the funness or the excitement about Porsche Super Cup. A championship league does not guarantee that you're the most talented of the others. It just means that on some of the tracks that you've raced on, you just seem to be better than most. And because they're all on equal tracks here, this is where all the talents are shown, and some perform better than others in some certain tracks, as we've seen here with Gomez, who's currently in the podium position, was last place last time round in Portimao, but he's not a backmarker by any means. He's actually a championship contender, as proven here, as why he had the championship lead for a good 3 rounds into this season, actually.
Yeah, it is really interesting how the championship has been fluctuating over the season, but Henry, even though it hasn't seemed like it, it has actually been the most consistent one out of the bunch. But what is also surprising to me is that we've not had one person score points in 4 races, as Juma lining up move on Curtis here.
Yeah, they're going to be going side by side though, heading into the outside. He's going to use the outside for turn 5 and turn 6 though. Not sure if it's actually going to be the quickest one, but he's got to get a better exit though as they head down for the technical second sector though, which we have the inside line though. Heading down into turn 7 though, but Curtis, I think, will have a better speed though. And all this in the meanwhile, Gomez is ahead of both of them, so whichever line is going to be in direct contact with Gomez might actually end up the loser of it, as Darren Curtis slowly pushes Calvin Germain just a little bit wide though, and they're still going to be going side by side actually, as they slowly approach the third sector though. He's still trying to use the back end, the slipstream of Aaron Curtis though, head down through the third sector though. Meanwhile, in the background, you can see Jorge Gomez going to use that momentum now on Calvin Germain, and it's actually going to work. It's actually paid off for the Japanese driver though. They're going to head down for the stadium section now, which Germain will use the inside line. Nothing much you can do about that, and I believe Yuto Horigoma will have it because he'll have the inside line at the minute, but we shall find out.
Yeah, Horigoma using the momentum to his advantage on the inside line through the final corner, and he's actually gotten it done. Great stuff from Horigoma, takes the opportunity and uses it to his advantage, as he is now in P5, but Germain is going to want to retaliate. Heading into turn 1, he's going to go to the inside line of the Japanese driver, as he's going to head into the first corner now, as Horigoma is just incrementally later on the brakes through the first corner. It's going to give Germain the outside line through turn 2, but the inside through turn number 3, as they're going to head down into 4 now.
Yeah, Germain's going to be dueling with one car, then next with the other. It's going to be very interesting to see how his tires will be affected by this race as well. Going to be going side by side now as they head down through turn 4, and then it soon becomes eventually the next corner very well. Turn 5 to turn 6 is going to be what approaches them. Germain's got a bit of the one, but Yuto Horigoma immediately goes down to the inside line though. He's hogging the apex, but I don't think he'll come into any fruition whatsoever, as Calvin Germain will hold on into P5 momentarily.
Yeah, lovely battle between the two. Germain doing fantastically defending from Horigoma at the moment, and I reckon that battle still isn't over, as we're having Nguyen and Smith fight each other here through the SS, as Nguyen's going to be on the inside line here, as the two will go side by side. Really hard to determine who's going to come out on top through these SS, and as it really is just one simple mistake that's going to cost you the position. And you can see that Nguyen went a bit wide through the final corner to adjust this line, and thus Aiden Smith was able to defend Arnold going very, very wide, and that is going to allow Axel Socki to try and line up a move here through the final corner and out of the stadium section. Let's see if Socki's going to be able to do anything through these final corners. Arnold looks to have it done on the outside, but through turn 17, it actually looks to be Axel Socki with the better run. Either way, it's going to cancel out each other a bit, as they're going to be side by side, heading down the start-finish straight here.
Yeah, absolutely as well. That's very uncharacteristic for Alexander Arnold to go so deep into that corner, and it might actually cost him a position though, because Socki is still holding into him as they're going to head down for the first corner though. It's going to be the same thing between Horigoma and Germain. Maybe this time we might see Socki come out, but no, Alexander Arnold shuts the door at him, and at last I think they'll allow for Alexander Arnold to retain P15.
Yeah, good stuff from Arnold, but he is in quite in quite a bit of a predicament at the moment, considering where he is position-wise. As we're looking at Mateusz Material, now down in position to the man whom he's defending from, Tander, who himself there behind has Jakub Zukauskas to worry about.
Well, very interesting thing to note as well that Gabriel Gomez is 3.5 seconds away from Gonzalez, which is really, really weird.
Yeah, it is quite weird with Gomez at the moment, but I think it's a matter of Gonzalez picking up the pace, because he's actually caught up to the back of James Morris Pearson.
Yeah, he actually has. He actually has a good chance of taking the lead away from James Morris Pearson, maybe momentarily to help him potentially. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that fight will eventually pan out, though. But Gomez, I think he might be on the conservative, but we'll see how that pays off, because he's got Hungarian drivers behind him of Curtis, Germain, and Horigoma, who would love to take the podium position away from him. And it's going to determine how well he defends from these drivers as such. And Aaron Curtis, I think, will try his luck in very soon.
Yeah, as we're looking a bit further down the field now, here's Hwang Min Nguyen chasing down Aiden Smith. as we're going to head into turn 1. Nguyen obviously will be wanting to get into the points this race, considering he has a championship to fight for, and especially considering Gomez at the moment, who will be scoring a whopping 15 points compared to the both MRS cars. It's not looking too good for Min at the moment.
No, but at least he's closer to a point-scoring position, which unfortunately can't be the same said for Henry J. Brown currently at the moment, who hasn't made any position so far ever since he's lost 3 positions in the first lap. And as the laps keep ticking by, that chance of himself getting points is dwindling by the minute. At least for Huang Mingwen, he has got a bit of chance in P14 to try and gain at least a point or 2. But given Mexico and the current state it has, which allows for dueling, maybe it's a task too big for the Vietnamese.
Yeah, I mean, considering how close the field is at the moment as well, everyone is, I'd say, similar on pace. So it's all about finding that advantage over the then. I mean, that is easier said than done, to be fair. So I wouldn't really blame Min for not being able to go up too many positions, because the field, I have to say, is just looking really tightly packed.
It really is, but it's we can see that as it is in the case for most of the series races, it does die down just a little bit as everyone constantly thinks about what their approach is going to be heading into the final race, if they're going to be aggressive or conservative. But yeah, so that's why it's currently not any positions currently changing at the moment, but they're all still tightly packed, and we can maybe still see a bit of glimpses to see if they can force drivers into error, which has been done before in this series, may I add. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. So it's going to be very, very, very... I'm not quite sure who will actually win, to be honest.
Yeah, it is really interesting to see how it's going to play out at the moment. I mean, especially considering Pearson, this is only his second race, mind you, and he is in the lead at the moment. And he's actually pulled away by a second to Gonzalez, and Rubinho, who already does have a to his name, could actually throw himself into the title fight with this result, most likely.
Yeah, but imagine how much better that his championship bid would be if it was a win and not a podium place. But alas, it'll determine how it will happen, though, mainly for sure. But we shall see for sure, though. But it's still early beginnings. We still have got quite a ways to go. We're almost halfway through the race now. So, well, as you've said before, and I'll say it for your quote, anything can and will happen. And in this case, this race has never been more impactful and more realistic than it has been for Porsche Super Cup. Definitely one of the most hectic series that we've had this year, and races like this do show why it's one of the most exciting that we have to offer.
Yeah, I think it is going to be quite the thriller. As we have about 10 laps to go now in this race, Pearson has led since the start, just about, being able to jump Rubinho Gonzalez after the first corner. And he's led ever since from Gonzalez, and then Gomez, who was able to climb up a position and get himself ahead of Aaron Curtis, who is in fourth. But still, even though Gonzalez isn't running in the race lead, Dynamic Motorsport will be getting some big points compared to Fach and Team GP Elite. So they could potentially climb up the championship with this result today.
Yeah, it's it's pretty interesting because Dynamic did not have the best of starts at the moment. They were like on par, like Marinette in 2 races outperformed them actually in the first 2 races, and they almost looked like prime contenders for the wooden spin at the minute. But they've really had a change of pace heading into Germany, and the same thing happening in Portugal now. And with currently with Curtis at the moment being in 4th, along with other drivers as well, such as Sukauskas and Gonzalez currently at the minute, who's challenging for the lead. It's definitely could be a change of form for them. Especially being one of the 3 car teams and being all the way down at 6th is a bit worrying, especially when MRS GT Racing of a similar caliber with 3 car team is currently in the lead and by a comfortable margin. But it could be a change of forms that we could see them pick up in the second half of the season and maybe see them potentially challenge MRS if the momentum keeps going this way.
Yeah, I mean the thought of a 2-car team being able to go up against the might that is MRS this season, it is really interesting to see if that could pan out. But with 3 races to go, or after this, I would say it is unlikely.
We shall see. I mean, the drivers that Dynamic have are more than capable of getting themselves into very good point scoring positions.
I'm gonna interrupt you here. I'm sorry, but Material and Nytt are battling with each other for P8. So the charge from Mateusz Material might finally be beginning as the 2 go side by side. Material on the outside through the S's as they will battle with each other. Ooh, I think that was Erki just getting on the grass, but he is actually going to defend his position here.
Yeah, he actually did. He did squeeze Material as much as he possibly can. That will allow him to not be imposed by the stewards at the minute, and that has actually worked for Material at the moment, as he's got a bit of lost in momentum, and that will probably allow for Nick Tanzer to maybe get himself catched up. So a while ago, he gets himself a little bit too deep, and that might allow for Henry Brown to catch up, though. We're still only heading into lap 13 out of 21 at the moment here. Still all positions here to play for. This race is surely not over just yet.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see, as Jokubas Zukauskas has now set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:49.898 from the Lithuanian. Maybe the points charge could still be on for the Dynamic Motorsport driver to get all 3 of the Dynamic cars into the top 10.
Yeah, I don't think we have seen Dynamic, all 3 cars of Dynamic score a point. But with Zukauskas currently setting the fastest lap, and he's clearly got the pace of shown here, as he's only 0.8 seconds away from Nick Tander at the moment. And amidst of this battle, which is currently led by Chauchina at the moment in 7th, there could be a chance for the Lithuanian to maybe score a point and bring, which is certainly be valuable points here. As Erki Nytt, though, he gets himself a bit too deep, which might allow for Material, who's just not about close enough, to maybe make a move as Nick Tander tries to have a look down. He himself gets a bit too deep, and that will allow for Zukauskas maybe to close up a bit. It's kind of becoming like a domino effect here.
Yeah, as we have seen in the ACOC before, usually when one battle does kick off, it, as you said, does result in a bit of a domino effect, where a lot of battles do kick off as a result. As Chauchinat is still on the back of Yuto Horigome, who has lost massive amounts of time in these last few laps to Khalfan Juma. I think this is going to create... You can see the train behind the Japanese driver at the moment. That is immense.
Yeah, well, and that's what kind of happens whenever you're so aggressive and you're trying to make positions that are to no avail. And with the altitude and the characteristics of the Mexico track, it is surely a tire killer if you're outside of that racing line. I think that's what these drivers have to take into account whenever they were dueling so early on in the lead, which is kind of why we did not have a lot of position changes later on, because everyone was just so aggressive that nobody can really try to challenge anymore, because they didn't have this enough grip to actually make a challenge or enough speed to get close enough because of their early duels that they've had early on. But Chauchinat, though, he gets himself a bit too deep, and that will allow for Yuto Horigome to get himself a bit of breathing room, actually.
Yeah, these are a bit better for Horigome at the moment. About a second to Chauchinat now, which will be good. And especially better considering Fong Chanok will have to deal with Erki Nytt there behind. And they got Material, Tander and Zukauskas all involved in this.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that absolutely coming, though, but it's just a matter of time. The question is, I wonder if any of these drivers, no matter from like P6 down to P11 or P12, if they can hold the positions for as long as they can, because we've still only got about 7 laps to go currently at the moment, I believe. So it's still anyone's guess to see who will be where at the moment here, because all it takes is just one mistake or one too deep into the corner, as we've seen with Alexander Arnold, to lose so many positions so fast. And I think all these drivers need to definitely be worried and to be taken into account for that, especially because of the tire degradation as well that they need to worry about on top of that as well.
Yeah. It is going to be quite interesting to see as Aaron Curtis sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:49.7. And look at this, Jamie. He's actually caught up to the back of Gabriel Gomez. So Curtis could be back for some revenge.
Yeah, and he's actually got himself very good away from Calvin Jamar, who used to be on the back of Curtis now. So Curtis will soon just challenge maybe Gabriel Gomez for the final podium position, and if it will do so, it will be absolutely amazing for the Irishman, who has, he's been pretty lackluster in comparison to his other dynamic autosport teams. But if he can get himself another podium place, then it will mean that all of the dynamic racing team drivers will have all have a podium to their name, which is going to be very good for the Italian team for sure. And that's completely doable. It is actually completely doable because he's got enough speed, and I believe that with Gomez kind of struggling at the moment for trying to catch up to Gonzalez and Pearson, I think it might be a matter of time before we see this duel. Maybe it could be reminiscent of the Patel and Stella last year, and we shall see.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting to see how it will play out. Dynamic Motorsports, although they maybe aren't doing the best in the championship, do always produce quite solid drivers. So we will see how they will fare after this round, because they will be scoring some quite big points. That is to say the least.
Yeah, it clearly is at the moment. It's a bit interesting that the fight still has not continued at the moment as we head into the urgent part of the stage where all the drivers eventually panic and they start to Yuto Origama actually sets the fastest lap now, so this could be a bit of change of fortunes now for the Japanese driver. He's still got a lot of ground to catch up to the rest of the pack, especially to Jamar. It's still 5 seconds now, but it's a good sign for him though, at least, because that means he'll be able to pull away just a little bit from the field for the fight for P6.
Yeah,
Oh my!
I mean, we saw Jorge Gomez start to pull away incrementally
Gomez is
from
catching up. Gomez is
Charles
catching up,
China.
and Gonzalez is kind of catching up now.
That is actually really interesting. Pearson, I think, might know that Rubinho is faster than him at the moment, so might he be trying to back him up into Gomez and Curtis to try and bring them into this battle?
This is going to be very interesting, Merritt. I must say it for sure. Maybe Pearson's early aggressive strategy of pulling away as fast as he can from Gonzalez didn't work, and that means he's got about just a little bit over 5 laps to defend himself from these drivers in much lower gripped tires. All that aggressiveness is going to hurt the American very much, and he might be denied a race win in only his second Porsche Super Cup career at the moment. And he's got experienced drivers of Gonzalez and Gomez to worry about behind his rear mirrors as we're entering into the closing stages of the race now. And it definitely is a matter of if and when, because Gonzalez has managed in just 1 lap close up to 2/10.
Yeah, this is gonna be really interesting to see, as Gonzalez right now looks to be the fastest man on track at the moment. As we're gonna head into turn 1.
Gomez the fastest one once again.
Yeah, again. So I might actually be standing corrected on my statement. It might be Yuto Horigome who's the fastest man on track at the moment. But overall, I'd have to say it is this man through these past 17 laps.
Yeah, Yuto Horigome certainly showed you who was the fastest car on track, though. But Gonzalez is closest to Pearson than he's ever been in this entire race ever since lap 1, though. Can the poster maybe clinch back the lead from James Morris Pearson that he lost on the start? We shall see. He's still very close. And meanwhile, in the background, you can see Gomez Gomez is actually caught up by 3/10 in just a matter of a few corners as well. Oh, and Pearson goes a bit wide. He's feeling this pressure from Gonzalez, and maybe that could be the turning point that Gonzalez will need to take the lead from James Morris Pearson. And Pearson is definitely struggling in the tires, and he's feeling the pressure.
I don't actually think Pearson ran wide. I think Gonzalez just tried the inside line.
Gomez has catched up. It's 1 second now. In a matter of the second sector, he managed to catch up 5/10.
Incredible pace from Gomez, and obviously now we're approaching the final laps of the race. We might be in for another closing thriller here at Mexico.
Yeah, you can definitely see Gonzalez and Gomez are just going to be pushing all that they can now. And Gonzalez is bringing Curtis and Jamad to the fight with them as well. So you can see here a 5-car battle here for the lead in the closing stages. But I think it might be only shortcomings for James Morris Pearson at the moment now. There's only so much he can do to hold on to lead now. And Gonzalez has once again caught up again by just 1/10 now at the moment now. And Gomez is going to be all over the back of Gonzalez on top of that as well. So I think Gonzalez is under pressure to make the move on Pearson as fast as he can.
Let's see what's going to happen here then, as Gonzalez is chasing down Pearson. Is he close enough into turn number 1? He isn't. Gomez now, the main thing to do here is just going to play he's just going to play catch up to these two guys. Khalfan Juma in 5th has joined the battle now, so this is going to get really, really interesting.
Yeah, you can see Pearson as well. He's trying to get himself into the defensive line here. He's trying to defend himself from Gonzalez now as they head down through turn 4 as the minute. And oh no, that's Gonzalez going just a little bit wide. He's going to try and hug into the apex though to try and maybe counteract that move from Gonzalez. But it's gonna be worrisome for Gonzalez, and Gomez is trying to look down for the outside. He goes himself a little bit wide, and that might allow for Curtis to maybe join, who's a bit too far away at the minute. Alas, no positions are made there, but everyone is just getting very tense. And the background, you can see Jorge Gomez actually catched up by a second.
Yeah, domino effect in full working order, ladies and gentlemen, as Gonzalez ran wide trying to fight Pearson. And Gomez, who saw the opportunity on Gonzalez, ran wide himself as he was trying to fight him. And then Curtis didn't run wide, but he tried to take advantage of it. And yeah, I really have no words for it, but it is really interesting to see how one little mistake can trigger something like a wave through the field.
Yeah, absolutely as well. I think the drivers also are also worried about the early jolts that they've had, because they're trying their best not to be as aggressive as possible in order to conserve their tires as much as possible, because that's Pearson's disadvantage currently at the moment because of his aggressiveness. He does not have the grip in comparison to the other ones, so they don't want that disadvantage being run down at the moment. He's trying to look down for the inside of Pearson, and to no avail it works. It doesn't work at the mid, and Gomez is looking into the back. Yeah, he goes a bit wide, and that might allow for Gonzalez. Gomez is actually all the back now, and they're going to head down through the second straight.
And this is going to be really, really interesting now, as Gonzalez is going to face pressure from the Brazilian Gabriel Gomez, who is fighting for the championship lead. He's going to try and line himself up for, but I don't think it's going to work, and it doesn't for Gomez. It's a bit too far away. Here comes Curtis. Curtis down the inside line of Gomez as the two go side by side. Aaron Curtis is going to try to get his position back from Gabriel Gomez after all these laps. He's going to go to the outside line. I can't believe it. Aaron Curtis comes from absolutely nowhere to try and take his position back on lap 19 of 21. He's going to be there on the inside line, but is he going to succeed with the move? He's going to be pushed out wide then through this final corner, and that will give Gabriel Gomez the run to be able to defend from the Irishman. Not quite. I don't think so. Here comes Curtis again on the inside line of Gabriel Gomez as the two go side by side into the stadium section, and Gomez finally does cover him off and defends his third place. Valiant effort from Aaron Curtis, but it has cost Gabriel Gomez a bit of time.
Yeah, it also cost Cathal Jamal a bit of time because look at Yuto Orgome. In a matter of that lap, he's managed to catch up by 1.5 seconds and he'll be joining this lead for the lead as well. And look how fast he is. He sets the fastest lap once again. Yuto Orgome might have a chance of getting a podium at this rate if he's lucky. But we shall see. We're only into lap 19 of 21 though at the minute and still all positions to play for.
It is going to be once again another final lap thriller I think we're going to have on our hands, ladies and in Porsche Super Cup at Hermanos Rodriguez once again, as Gonzalez is just adjusting his lines left and right to try and find his way past James Morris Pearson. And it's going to be really interesting. One man chasing his second win in the Porsche Super Cup, one man chasing his first win in his second Porsche Super Cup race as Gonzalez look on the inside line. He's gonna go to the outside though. Is that the right call for Gonzalez? Has it lost him time? No, it hasn't. Not by a lot. And it's gonna get interesting. There's Nick Tander though, Gomez's teammate, who's gonna go to the inside line of Mateusz Material as the two fight with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be side by side. The Legendary Racing versus the Fast Aquatech now. They're going to head down for the second sector now into the series of S's now. This is going to be the determining factor to see if the position will stay the way it does. They're still going to be going side by side with Material going to be handling the inside line now. It's going to be side by side. Tander has the inside line now, and then Material will have the inside line. A bit of grass of the touching though at the minute, and it's going to be a little bit, just a tiny bit wide there for Nick Tander though. But at least it'll work for Material. With Material trying to look down for the inside line though, heading into the third and stadium sector at the minute. He doesn't have a make a look at last, and Nick Tanner gets himself into ninth, and Nuto Gourmet has finally joined in this little pack here. It's now become a 6-way pack now for this.
And now then, as we're going to round the final corner to start the final lap of the race here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, James Morris Pearson versus Rubinho Gonzalez versus Gabriel Gomez. 3 teams, 3 drivers, but only one will emerge as winner here in Mexico. As we head into turn number 1, Gonzalez, his main opportunity to strike will most likely come down at turn 4 and 5. So he's going to absolutely nail these corners. And speaking of, he does run a bit wide through turn number 3. So that's immediately put a spanner in the works for him. Now then, heading down to turn number 4, he's at least going to be gifted with the slipstream on Pearson. But I don't think he's going to be able to do it into turn 4. Is he going to try and set himself up for a move into 5 though? No, he doesn't.
He goes wide. He goes wide again, and that will allow for Pearson to take his second home win, because I don't think Gonzalez will be close enough though. But Gonzalez needs to worry about his second position though. Meanwhile, further down the back, Nick Tander and Erky Nitt will be in the battle here. Tander's done absolutely amazing. He's managed to catch up one position, and now he's going to do the same by overtaking the Estonian.
Yeah, it's going to be really, it's going to be interesting to see how this battle will form out then, as Tander's going to try to get Erki Nytten as they go side by side, having a bit of a Stella Patel moment on the final lap of the race here. Erki Nytt is just going to defend from Nicky Tander, as Mateusz Mateo is going to get involved into it and try and take the P9 away.
Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah, he's going to try it there on the inside line of Nick Tander. I think it is going to go to the line here, ladies and gentlemen, between these two. But looking into the race lead, then this man will triumph here at Mexico, as James Morris Pearson in his second Porsche Super Cup race wins at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and Mateusz Material just gets Nick Tander there. But it will be Gonzalez in second, with Gomez in third, followed by, and then we'll take the rest here. It's going to be Curtis in P4, with Juma in P5. Jorge Gomez gets the fastest lap, so well done for you to Jorge Gomez. He finishes P6, his first Porsche Super Cup points. He'll be very, very happy about that. And then it's going to be Functional Chow Scheinert in 7th, with Erki Nytt in 8th. Followed by Mateusz Material in 9th, and then Nick Tander, who will finish in 10th.
After that first battle, Jokubas Rukauskas, the Lithuanian, is 11th, followed by Jake Tidesley in 12th. And Smith will finish at 13th by Huang Mingwen in 14th. 15th, Alexander Arnold, and 16th will be Askil Soki. 17th is Axel Luan, and 18th was the championship leader, but not anymore, of Henry J. Brown. And that was the Mexican Mexican round results.
Yes, another thrilling round of the Porsche Super Cup comes to an end. Really, really nice. But yeah, before we go, let us award driver of the day. And I'm going to be basic, and I'm going to say James Morris Pearson, because, I mean, in your second round to pull something like that out of the hat, I think it is really impressive. So he's done a good job, and I think he deserves my driver of the day.
Yeah, he's done really good. Very good performance for him. I think that might be one of the really good performance for the American. I must say, it does show his talents in regards to a new series, and the fact that he's managed to adapt so well. Having 2 points finishes is actually really impressive, and to come with a race win is nothing to gloss about at the moment. He's done really well. But I'm going to give mine to actually the person who scored his first points in Porsche Super Cup for Yuto Gome. It's not an easy feat, especially in equal cars, to catch up so fast from 5 seconds and then to be all the way up for the field. If it was a couple of laps later, I'll be sure he will be gain some positions, and that's why Yuto Gome gets my driver of the day.
Yeah, Horigoma also doing fantastically. But yeah, that has been it for Porsche Super Cup. Thank you so much for watching. PSC may be over, but the action at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez is not, as Formula 1 will be here for the Mexican Grand Prix on what should be Saturday, and then on Sunday, Super Formula will be back for round 8 of the championship at the Lusail circuit in Qatar. So yeah, make sure to not miss those. Until then, I have been Miran.
And I've been Jamie.
Thank you so much for watching. The ACC will return with Formula 1 for the Mexican Grand Prix. Thank you, and goodbye.